everyone. Welcome to the BBQ Podcast. This is the first podcast episode we're doing today. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of different topics on this podcast. Most of them will be around gaming and news about gaming, so it'll be pretty fun. I'm Boom, and I'm here with
I'm Eve on 10.
yeah. So that's Evan. You guys can call him. I'm Boom.
Oh yeah, you can call me
Boom.
Evan.
So we'll be calling him as Evan today, and he'll be calling me Boom or Sam today in today's episode. All right, so let's get started with this podcast. So the first topic I was wondering, what do you think of Overwatch 2? I'm not sure how much you know about it, so I'll give you just a bit. So apparently there's going to be customizable emotes in it, customizable skins. So you'll make your own skin for each character. They're going to go so much more deeper into the lore. It's going to be sorry about that, guys. It's going to be single player more. It's going to not be focused on PvP, but co-op more. That's going to be rather interesting. So all the abilities will be ramped up super high. So I think that'll be a really cool feature. So I was just wondering, what do you think of that? Do you think that's cool, or how do you think that's going?
Yeah, so I'm just getting into Overwatch. I recently got the game and I've been playing it a lot with you, of course. And you're kind of getting me into it and I'm getting a feel for it. So I the thing is I don't really use emotes and skins at all. Like I don't really care about them. I just go into the match and do whatever, like play the actual game. So I mean, I don't really have too many opinions on that either, because I also haven't unlocked many of them yet. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't
it's the same thing
exactly
as
know.
me. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of emotes, but I don't particularly remember to use them, so I'm
Yeah.
not so worried about the emote part of that because custom dance emotes, that'd be pretty cool. But again, this is just a leak, by the way, guys. Ain't confirmed. We haven't released anything about this yet, but that's
Yeah,
so
most of the
far what the
stuff we're
speculation
talking
is.
about are leaks and rumors.
Yeah, hmm. Most of the stuff we will time this podcast, as Evan said, are leaks and stuff like that. So, don't all those things you're talking about, don't count that as truth yet. Make sure to do your own research on all these things as well, okay? So
If
yeah,
you could
I thought
if
mhm.
you could repeat for me and the viewers, what are some of the other things other than just the emotes and the skins?
Yeah, so apparently there's customized skins. They're going to go way more into lore. They're going to add a whole bunch more maps and a whole new game modes. The new game mode's called, I think it's called Push, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And basically, it's kind of like tug of war. So it seems really cool because you kind of got a tug and war with the objective. It'll be this huge robot pushing it to one person's side, and you kind of got to push it to the enemy's side as much as you can, where they're trying to push it to the other way. So that seems like a pretty fun game mode.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like something
Do you
I'd
have any?
play a lot for sure.
I think I would too. All the new maps seem cool. They're kind of Toronto. Trying to think of other ones now. And then around another Route 66 map. There's gonna be whole bunch more new maps, and it seems pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm excited. Hi, Evan. Do you have a topic next, or should I go again?
Uh, okay, well, I want to talk a bit about the 3D Mario remasters, which, of course, have been the Mario leak that everyone's been talking about since March, I believe, late March when they were leaked. And multiple sources confirmed it. Um, so we haven't actually gotten an official announcement about this yet. There's been lots of speculation. Leakers have been saying that different Nintendo Directs are going to come out and they're going to be announced. But so far, we haven't had a direct since last September, a full general direct. And Nintendo's just been
Hmm.
pushing out these direct minis, partner showcases that are really disappointing, I think, to most viewers.
Yeah, that's a
They're
great
not getting much
disappointment.
attention. Yeah, they're not getting much attention. Like the last one especially was a huge letdown. And not that like the games are bad, like some of them are kind of bad. But it's just the way Nintendo's going about it. Everyone wants a new direct because we're in the longest direct drought we've ever had since directs became a thing. And
Hmm.
what we're having is we're just having Nintendo just releasing these partner showcases. And it's something that like if Nintendo did a general direct and then they release partner showcases after that, I can tell you that like I'd actually be sort of interested in the partner showcase. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's another one of these, right? Because I've already
Yeah,
gotten
or
some
at
of the
least
first party titles I'm interested in.
yeah, or at least splitting it up a bit. Like maybe they could do more rotating. Because I'd have to agree. Like we could have been left in the dust with Nintendo release games recently. Like it's been so long since a really fun game I wanted to get from Nintendo has like showed up. So yeah, and I think the Mario Masters would be super cool. And hopefully the leaks are true. And I'll be honest, like Nintendo 3D leaks, like all these remasters, that sounds really fun to play. So yeah, I'd have to agree though. I think Nintendo needs to change their directs a bit right now. Otherwise, I think the directs may die a little bit.
Yeah. And the
I don't
only
know.
other problem
Mhm.
might be that they're they're not done yet. Which they haven't said is a problem. They've said they're still on schedule regardless of the whole COVID situation. But there is speculation that, maybe whatever they are trying to do isn't finished. There were also leakers who said that in the first partner showcase, that it was actually a last minute pull from Nintendo to take out a general direct and throw in the partner showcase instead. So we know Nintendo's getting
Mhm.
close. They do have to release something soon, whether it's just an announcement on Twitter, like they've done with Paper Mario and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, or if it's something
Mhm.
more in the form of a general Nintendo Direct. Mario's anniversary is on the 15th of September, 35th anniversary. So if they are using the 3D Mario remasters as a celebration for Mario's 35th, they have to get those out soon
Yeah,
or
they really got to start
announced.
ramping up production on that. Yeah, because like if you announce it just on that day and like it's released on that day, like no one's going to be ready for that, so it's not going to get as many sales like the original, right? Like you gotta want to hype that stuff up a bit, I think, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I
What
think
what like
that's interesting.
what they've been saying,
I hope they ramp up the game.
or what the leaks have been saying is that we're gonna get like two sort of separate things. It'll be like a Super Mario 3D All-Stars sort of thing where we have Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy. Mario Galaxy 2 we're not sure about yet. That's a possibility why they've pulled it in the past because they want to add Mario Galaxy 2 and that's taking more time. I I think that might be a
Hmm.
possibility. I'm not sure. But I really hope we get Galaxy 2 in that pack. And then a separate game, which we're actually hearing from leaks, is going to be the one with a lot of added content to it, not just a straight port, is Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, which a
Yeah,
lot of
3D
people have
World
been
is
anticipating for years now since the Switch came out.
mhm. Yeah, 3D World's probably one of the best games that happened on the Wii U, and it kind of sucks because the Wii U sold so little that it didn't really get the platform it was needed to actually be accounted for such a good game, right? Because it's
Exactly.
a really fun game to play.
Yeah, 3D World is a pretty great game, especially like it's the only 3D Mario game you can play multiplayer with. And the problem is so many people
Hmm.
just can't play it. And it would be a great thing if Nintendo got that out soon. And what would
Yeah,
I'd be completely happy if Nintendo announced something like this on the 15th or something in a general direct like that, if they had like a Mario themed direct. Because, of course, we also don't know if there's going to be any Mario adventures in 2021, right? Usually,
yeah,
Nintendo, like, especially with Mario Odyssey, they announced it very early on. Um, so if we're getting a Mario Odyssey 2 or something like that, that's probably going to get announced soon. So 3D Mario
hmm.
Remasters, I'm thinking is probably going to be a holiday title releasing in November, December, maybe October. It looks like October Pikmin 3 Deluxe is going to be the big game, so maybe not October. But we'll see what happens with that. And it's looking like 3D World Deluxe will be in the new year, if these
Yeah.
leaks
I
are
also
true.
think I think for the going back to the 3D World here, I think if they do bring it over to the Switch, there's a lot of bugs they could patch to make it a lot better of a game.
Mhm.
I do know Nintendo likes patching bugs, even though speedrunners may have to disagree with that a bit. I'm sure you can give some insight to that in a bit because you're a speedrunner. I'm not. But there's a lot of bugs in the original, so if they bring that over, that'd be pretty nice. There's not so many glitches.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So well, I'll give my insight onto the specific games, what I think they'll do. Um, with Super Mario 64, I'm really hyped about this one because I want to see it in HD so bad. And like there have been other people who have put in HD, but it's not, Nintendo making its own thing. And of
Hmm.
course,
Yeah,
Nintendo's
for
gonna have
sure.
a much higher quality product in the end.
Hopefully, at
So
least.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah, so I'm expecting a ground up remake from Nintendo. Now, like if they don't, I'd actually be surprised if they don't. Nintendo has been known to, slack off a little bit sometimes with these sort of things, especially with
Oh yeah, for
ports.
sure.
Like with the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, we know that we didn't get a whole lot there. But I'm expecting a ground up remake just because of how poor the graphics are. It is 1996. We can't expect too much from them, of course. Um,
Hmm.
so ground
Yeah,
up
I hope
remake there,
Nintendo.
getting it in like
Yeah,
definitely 1080p, very nice HD graphics, and it'll look really smooth on the Switch, I have to say.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like, hopefully, they do a ground up remake. Instead of just like being like, oh yeah, we could make money from this for free. Because I think Nintendo sometimes just goes like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, this will be very easy to make money off if we just port this over.
yeah,
They kind of do
Nintendo
that
does
just for
that
the
a
making
lot.
money. Yeah, which I don't think is the best option right there. So
I mean, it does work, so I guess that's why they haven't stopped. But
that is true. The
but
best part is
also,
we gotta stop buying them.
I'd be really happy if we got some added content, like if we got Super Mario 64 DS content in this remake. That'd be really cool. Because I feel like a lot of
Hmm.
people are going to be looking, especially like speedrunners or like um people who have played the game before, like older people. They're going to be looking for new content, right? Not just a remake. Now,
Hmm.
younger kids who've never played it before, they probably won't care. They'll probably just
Yeah,
be
which is
happy they
another
can play the
good thing
game.
about yeah, it's another good thing about like these older games to remaster them because then it just brings it up to a whole nother generation, right? Is like look at for instance same thing that we did. Because for instance, I never played it on the N64, Nintendo 64, but I did play on the DS that game, and I used to love that game so much. It was really
Yeah.
a good game. So yeah, it's nice that they're bringing it on over. Hopefully they do a nice remake and it's good quality, so everyone else can enjoy it just as much now. Do you have
Mhm.
anything else you want to add, or?
Well, to add a little more on the topic of Mario 64, I'm hoping that we also like we get an option because as a speedrunner, of course, I would love to be able to play the game, like a legitimate speedrunnable version of the game, like that'll go on the leaderboards on my Switch instead of having these emulator and
Mhm.
everything in Virtual Console. So I hope we actually get an option between the old version and the HD version. And of course, yeah, we're asking a whole lot from Nintendo with 64 right now. But hopefully they'll come through. I just
Yeah,
hope.
but first, Nintendo, I feel like it's one of the few like organizations, like big companies that don't really like feel their esports as much as other companies. I feel like because like not only do that for Smash, but for like other ones, I feel like they're really lackluster in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah, for sure.
so hopefully they do realize that there's a huge speedrunning community here, and they love it if
In
they decide
Galaxy,
to make that option.
in the Galaxy games, they had some speedrun prankster comments, right? So that was a good start.
Yeah,
Um, and
we'll have
then
to see.
for Sunshine, I'm not expecting much. Just like a graphic upscale, like touching things up, making it look a bit more crisp, putting it in 1080p. And hopefully widescreen. It better be in widescreen, or else we're gonna have a problem
Hopefully
if
it's in
it's still in
widescreen.
4:3. But that I don't. That's about it for Sunshine. Sunshine will take a bit of work, but just a retexture should be fine. And then also, as a speedrunner, I don't want them to switch too much. I like the controls the way they are. Some people don't. And I like the controls. Boom, you can't really speak on this too much because I know you haven't really played the game. But
Hmm.
the controls, some people like them, some people don't. I personally like them, so I would hope they don't change them too much. But like I really like the way the game moves and works. And it's a bit older. And there are a couple small things maybe they could touch up, but nothing like too major, right?
Yeah,
And then with
I do
Galaxy,
think maybe they could do sorry to interrupt here, but I think maybe they could do something like you get to control, like map out your controller if you like maybe give that
yeah,
option.
yeah, that would
Because that
actually
I
be
think that'd be
cool
the
for
best
both
of
of the older games. And
yeah,
well, actually,
because then
maybe for all the
people
games on here.
because then like let's say speedrunners they can have like such a different optimization because they know which way is the fastest and what's easiest to do certain tricks, and I think that'd be add a whole nother element to speedrunning, glitches, stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. But
Yeah, that
we
could
are
like
asking a lot
make
from Nintendo here.
yeah, that is a lot. It's not actually much, but it's not something Nintendo's likely to put in. I
I
guess is
mean,
a better way
like
to say it.
they did add in the Switch, like in the settings to remap it. So
Oh,
hopefully, I
that's
guess if you did
true.
something like that,
I guess
you
you
could
could
maybe do
remap it
that.
then, either way, because it's already on the Switch.
Mhm. It'd just
I'm
be a bit
yeah,
trickier compared to in-game and not.
yeah, that's true. With Galaxy, all I want is just a retexture, and then that game's good to go. It'd just be nice to have that game on the Switch. And of course, Sam, I'm sure you know a bit about Galaxy, how you have to point at the sensor bar and stuff with the
Oh
cursor.
yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think would they do there? Like gyro, or would they like eliminate that mechanic and like replace it with something else? Or what do you expect
Yeah,
from Nintendo?
knowing Nintendo with like they love motion controls, right? Like ARMS, they use motion controls. Like Overwatch on the Switch, like they make you use gyro at first, like motion controls.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Nintendo,
first thing when
Nintendo
I got
really,
Overwatch, the first thing was you told me to turn it off, right?
yeah, it's the first thing I told you. A lot of people like that, but I personally really dislike that. So knowing Nintendo with how much they like their motion controls, like they really love their motion controls compared to other companies. Like they're proud of that so much. I think they will make it so it's gyro because they're really proud of that work, and they're just a more casual company, I guess,
Mhm.
for gamers more likely. So
And I've seen like people use like not official hardware, but like use other external third party things to hook up to their Switch to make it so it's kind of like a Wii remote using gyro. And I've seen that it works. Um, so like if they did implement that feature for Galaxy, I feel like people wouldn't really have a problem with it. It might actually even be easier than pointing the Wii remote at the screen like we all had to do when we played Galaxy on the Wii.
yeah,
So
especially since they improved the gyro so much, like it's pretty impressive. Like
yeah, it'll
compared to
definitely be
how
a
it
bit of
used to
an
be, they do
acquired control.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, like it won't be the same, but I think it'll work pretty well if they did that.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah, that's all I've got for the Mario remasters. What do you have ready, Boom?
Mr. Beast, I think it's gonna be tomorrow. So Dream and Technoblade, they're probably. Do you know Technoblade? So I'll explain real quick about who both they are. So Technoblade is pretty much a Minecraft PvP here, right? He's a YouTuber as well. He's a quite good YouTuber. You guys should make sure to subscribe to him. Check him out. He's quite funny. I like him. And there's another YouTuber called Dream, right? And people all the time argue who's the better Minecraft player, Dream or Technoblade. So Mr. Beast tomorrow, they're doing a duel, Technoblade versus Dream, for $100,000. So I was just wondering, who do you think will win, Technoblade or Dream, or do you know how much about
I have to
them?
put my
Or
money on Technoblade just because, I've heard so much about him. I've seen
Mhm.
so many of his wonderful videos, and Technoblade
now,
is the best at Minecraft.
now you do have to say that Dream did have the world record for Minecraft speedrunning at one point. Now he's number two, but he's a really good Minecraft speedrunner, right? So
Oh,
technically, it's a bit better usually at the older versions like 1.8, 1.7, way back before the combat update, where they made it so you have to time your clicks, right? Whereas Dream, he's really good at the new version where you have to time your clicks, use the shields, and all that stuff. So I think depending on what version it is, it's going to depend on who wins. And they both realize that. So Mr. Beast said they'll do five versions in 1.8, five in 1.9 plus, so 1.16. So
okay.
does that change anything, or do you still think
Yeah, that
Technoblade
that
will
does
win?
change some of my opinion there. Uh, when did Dream have the world record? Do you know?
Pretty recently, actually. He just lost it a month ago, I think, roughly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
So now
that definitely makes it more of an interesting matchup. Knowing like a bit more
I think,
details about the players.
hmm so way back in Minecraft Monday, like a tournament that was roughly a year ago, and the prize whoever won was $10,000 or $5,000, depending on what week it was. Technoblade absolutely destroyed Dream several times in that version, and that was in 1.8, right? That was that tournament. It was in 1.8. Technoblade dominated him, right? But now there's another tournament right now called MC Championship, Minecraft Championship. And Dream, he does really good. Like he's constantly scoring top player spots, being number one, winning that. So I do think partially, depending on if it's in 1.16 or 1.8, like I don't think any of them will take games from each other on that. So I'm really interested because I think it'll be a tie, 5-5. So I'm wondering how they'll do a tiebreaker on that because they're both really good players.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Dream might actually win after like getting those details. Of course I still want Technoblade to win. And I think of course it's gonna be pretty close. And I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if they did tie 5-5. So I don't know. What might you think about a tiebreaker?
So I'm hoping if there is a like a tiebreaker, I'm hoping they just do another round like 5v5. I think they should just keep doing that until eventually there's no tie because like there's such good players, both of them. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be really hard to decide like who wins.
Yeah,
I
that's
do think partially depending on who will win because I think Technoblade's a bit better at like not with the terrain and stuff, right? Like he's a bit more like really get clicking, aiming, stuff like that, like basic stuff like that.
mhm.
Whereas Stream, he's a bit more like he thinks about the terrain around him. So if like the arena's really terrained and like there's different levels, water, stuff like that, I think Dream may have an advantage. But if it's just like a plain old PvP arena like a Coliseum, I think technically may have an advantage. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I do think though 1.8 takes a bit it's a bit harder to learn than 1.9 personally because I think the aiming and like the clicking, different clicking techniques you need to do, it's a bit harder to do than timing your clicks, learning when to shield, stuff like that. Do you want to know what's in the kit or no? Like what we're
Sure.
dealing with.
Sure.
So the kit will be for 1.16. It's going to be diamond armor, a shield, a diamond sword, a diamond axe, a crossbow, a bow, and 5 arrows. That'll be really interesting because with the
Yeah.
axe, right, they can either disable the shield if they want, or they can attack with the sword, right? So it
Yeah.
kind of depend because they changed that quite a bit. And in the 1.8 kit, it's going to be a diamond sword, diamond armor, a bow and arrow. I think it's 5 arrows and a bow and a rod. Now the rod's a very controversial thing because rods in Minecraft PvP in 1.8, like they really change up the game. Like if you have really good rod aim, like it gives you a huge advantage. So I think that's really useful for Technoblade there. Another thing to add though, that's very interesting, I think, about this tool is that um, pretty much there's no food items or regenerative items. So that's gonna be really interesting. Because you won't be able to heal or anything like that. Do you have anything else to add or?
Yeah, that's those are some interesting kits. And I'm excited to see how it plays out. Um the axe, it
Mhm.
does more damage in 1.9 plus, right?
Yeah, it does a lot more damage, but the cooldown is quite a bit.
Ah, okay.
Like the cooldown's like a whole like 2 seconds, I think, sometimes. So
Okay. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting for the players and for the viewers with the difference between versions and how that changes strategies between the
mhm.
two players.
Yeah, so those who are wondering about the Dream Duel, all this stuff we're talking about hasn't been 100% confirmed, but should be releasing tomorrow, Saturday, August 29th. I'm not sure what time exactly, and it should be on the Mr. Beast Gaming channel. So if you guys are listening to this podcast, it's most likely already out. So you guys can check that out and see what's up.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have any more topics here or?
Well, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about the Switch Pro League. which
Sounds
recently
good.
came out. Again, it's another leak, and I don't know a whole lot about this one,
Yeah, I
except
was gonna say I never heard about that either.
yeah,
So,
it's a smaller leak. It's only been like one time, so I'm not too confident that this is happening. I also don't care that much, because I feel like Nintendo's done a good job with the console. Like I don't really need any more
mhm,
of an upgrade for it. And of course they've come out with the Switch Lite, which in my opinion, is a ripoff, but some people like it. So
mhm,
basically, the I I hope in a Switch Lite that we get definitely fixed Joy-Cons. Like no more Joy-Con drift, better batteries that like last, like that don't wear down as easily. Because that's been a problem, especially for me. I don't know if as many people have that issue, but also connection issues. As Joy-Cons age,
mhm.
they tend to like have connection problems, especially like delay if you're further away. Like mine, I have to be right beside my console pretty much now, or else I'm getting major delay between my Joy-Cons and Mario.
Yeah, which I think Nintendo really messed up with their Joy-Cons. Like, considering how much money they cost, like they cost like $100 Canadian for a pair, right? I think that's for how the quality of that controller. I don't think it's worth that much money. So I think Nintendo does need to fix some of that stuff for sure. Because I know personally, all my Joy-Cons, they're drifting ever so slightly, and I just can't deal with that. Like, considering how much money I paid for them, I don't think that should be acceptable. So yeah, I hope they fix that. I also
Mhm.
hope that they maybe they replace the Wi-Fi card on the Switch because the connectivity on the Switch for the Wi-Fi isn't the best all the time. So yeah, I think that could maybe be a thing they could add.
Yeah, I definitely agree
Talking about
about the Wi-Fi card.
talking about the UI too. A while ago there was leaks for themes, like different types of themes on the Wii U. Sorry, not the Wii U, the Switch, right? So if it's just black and white, they had like Animal Crossing, Super Mario Odyssey,
That would be
Mario in
so
general.
cool.
Yeah, and I saw a whole bunch of different like concept arts on that. So if they added something like that to the Nintendo Switch Pro, that could be a good reason to buy that. So I think if they maybe add some UI changes like that, I think that could be a pretty beneficial thing for them. Again, all this guy's conspiracy. None of this is confirmed. So we'll see if we're right or not later on in the year, I guess.
Yeah. And
So
again, it's such a small thing, like the art, but it
mhm.
makes such a big difference when you're using a Switch.
Yeah, I think just a few more small changes like that, like ever just slightly changed, but makes
Hmm.
such a huge difference to what they need to add if they're going to.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to make a whole new
yeah, for
console.
sure.
You know, mhm. Yeah, I do gotta see though, because Nintendo's making a lot of like different types of Switches, like the Switch Lite. They have that slightly upgraded Switch now, and the regular Switch, right? Like the one that they got from opening, right? I do think Nintendo maybe needs to innovate a bit more, maybe make a new console soon, because although the Switch is a great console, the PS5 is coming out, the Xbox, is it called S, I think, Series S or
Yeah, it's
whatever,
something
Series
like
X,
that.
whatever it's called. Yeah, they're coming out, and I think Nintendo usually does release theirs slightly
Yeah,
later, but I do think Nintendo maybe needs to start innovating a bit more and making a new console, really starting the beginnings of that because they just can't keep releasing these
yeah.
Switches, right?
And
Then again, you could argue.
yeah,
Sorry, I'll let you
I'm
go.
sure that Nintendo's working on something and they're not due for a new console until 2023, maybe 2024, but that's kind of pushing it. 2022 even. So we could get a Switch Pro and then get another console later on. Also, another thing with PlayStation and
Mhm.
Xbox releasing their consoles is if Nintendo goes straight in with them, in into that, uh, like that competition, they're not going to be able to, beat them, right? Because Nintendo's more like
Yeah,
geared it has a different audience mostly. And
yeah, and I was just say that for the like for instance, the PS4, like it did really
oh
good this
yeah,
year, so I don't think Nintendo will be able to
the
compete with the
PS4, I mean the
PS5 too.
PS5. what I've seen about it is just it's crazy. It looks
Yeah,
really good too.
it looks good.
I'm excited to see what
The
Sony
Wi-Fi
has with
router.
what Sony has going with that. Once like it releases. But hopefully the Xbox also does better than the One X, right?
Yeah, because the Xbox recently, ever since like the original, it's just been declining. So hopefully Xbox can get their game up on this
And the
soon.
Xbox One X had
Um,
a lot of
yeah,
hardware
but
issues at launch.
oh yeah, it did. It's a fairly interesting console. Plus, as no exclusives, I think Xbox or Microsoft, if they want to continue making that like console successful, they need to start getting companies make exclusives for it. Because the PS4 is doing really good with exclusives. Like they have Fall Guys pretty much signed with
Mhm.
you have like they're doing pretty good with exclusives over
Yeah.
there, right? Nintendo as well, because it has the Mario franchise, Zelda too. So yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm hoping that going back to the Switch topic, I'm hoping that the Switch doesn't become like the DS of like modern day
Yeah.
Nintendo. Because when the DS was alive, oh, they had the DS Lite, the DSX, like
Yeah, for sure.
2DS, 3DS.
I
It
feel
was
like that's
crazy.
more of a thing that Nintendo goes for
So,
with handheld consoles because they also did that same thing with the Game Boy, like the Game Boy Light, the Game Boy
mhm,
Color, the Game Boy Mini, the Game Boy Micro, the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SP.
mhm.
Like they had so many models of the Game Boy as well, just like the DS.
Yeah, I was just, well, I think that's partially why the Wii U failed too, because like all the games that were on the Wii U pretty much had a port to the
Yeah,
DS somehow, like the 3DS, one of those, right? So I think Nintendo needs to be very, very careful with making so many of these like handheld consoles. Otherwise, their future consoles will fail
yeah,
most
and the
likely,
thing
right?
is, the 2DS XL came out a little bit after, like half a year after the launch of the Switch, and since then we haven't gotten any handheld or home consoles. So I'm thinking that Nintendo's gonna keep going with more of the Switch franchise, of course, where they try to, you know, it's a hybrid, right? They want to be able to have portable and home consoles, and I think that's sort of what the Switch Lite was. It was intended to be another handheld console that they released. So I think we are due for a new
Hmm.
handheld and a new home console. However, Nintendo pictures that being released in the next few years.
Yeah, another thing about the Switch Pro, whatever they're adding, right? I do think if they do that, and they're not planning to release another console until like 2024, 2023, right? I think it would be really good if they can do a graphics update, because I know me personally, with 2017 hardware, I don't want to be running games that released in 2022,
Mhm.
especially since the 2017 hardware the Switch released with wasn't like top grade,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So hopefully they just update the console altogether to make it a bit more
Yeah,
powerful. So,
I think if the Switch Pro, I don't know like what they're thinking for it, but like if it is a hybrid console, just like uh the original Switch, or maybe it's just gonna be like a home sort of console. We don't really know yet. But if it is more of a portable one, a hybrid between home and portable, then I would like to see like a bigger screen on the actual unit itself. And I'd hope that's in
mhm,
1080p instead of 720p. Instead of it just being in 1080 on the
for
TV.
sure.
And
Maybe even try to make it 4K.
I don't see too many pushes
So
to
no
4K
4Ks.
too soon, especially since it's
Not
Nintendo
yet, but
and they're always a little bit behind the trend. But also because a lot of people
yeah, as
still don't
Nintendo
have
says,
4K monitors or 4K TVs.
yeah, it's true. They'd ask you the option to make it down to HD and 4K. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I feel like it's definitely the sort of thing that once 4K becomes a little bit more standard, that's when Nintendo will switch.
Mhm.
And I heard
Yeah, that does make
I believe
sense.
Thomas and PJ from the Switch Stop were saying the same thing on. I was watching their podcast last night. They basically said the same thing, but it's true. Nintendo's likely not to switch up to 4K until, it's a standard thing. That's kind of how Nintendo does things.
Yeah, Nintendo likes to master the old stuff. Like for the Wii, like it didn't have HD, which was pretty rare back then, right?
Yeah.
So like they really like to make sure they have the stuff mastered for like the newest stuff
Yeah,
before they put
the
it
Wii
out.
came
So
with a composite adapter, or at least the old units, and you had to buy a component
hmm
adapter to get the quality a little bit better. Um,
hmm So yeah, I thought it'll be interesting what Nintendo does with that stuff.
mhm.
Do we have anything else we should talk about or?
Um, well, I know that you have Super Mario 3D World, so maybe you want to like give a few thoughts on what you would really like to see in the game as far as additional content like characters or levels, like maybe
Mhm.
from 3D Land or bonus worlds of some kind. What's your thought?
Yeah, so maybe for extra content, I haven't played the game in a while, I'll be honest, because I played that game once, I played through it, enjoyed it, but I didn't really, invest too much into it. Maybe they could do a bit more is maybe make the difficulty for World 9 or whatever that like hidden world is. Maybe make that a bit more difficult and maybe add a bit more like levels to that because I'll be honest, it's a pretty good
Are
game.
you referring to World
Um,
Bowser, like the last story world,
oh no,
or the
there's
bonus
like this
world?
world inside like yeah, like the bonus world with like the
Oh
stars from
yeah,
outer space where they get Rosalina.
right.
I'm not sure. I don't remember the world name for that
I
guy,
think
so sorry
that
about
one's
that. It's World
World
9, World 8,
Flower.
10,
No, it's not World Flower. It's World Mushroom,
World Star.
or is it World Star?
Yeah, I don't remember, but
Yeah, there are like
yeah,
four
World Star,
bonus
something like
worlds in
that.
that game. So
Yeah, but something like that to maybe add to it would be fun. I also would maybe they could change the multiplayer up a bit too, because I know personally for the multiplayer in that game gets really chaotic. Like it does not work out as well as they advertise it, I'll say. So
I think they should.
hopefully they do something about that
I
too.
think they should lower the requirements for 100%, so you don't have to beat every level with every character.
Yeah, they should do that too, because they and you get all the stars I think too for some of them. Like they have some pretty crazy stuff for that. So yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe a few more characters. I can't think of any right now, but maybe like Waluigi would be cool. Wario, since they Waluigi isn't in Smash, they need to give him a game,
Yeah,
right? So we'll put him in 3D World,
I'd
call it a
enjoy
day.
seeing
Uh,
Yoshi in 3D World too.
yeah, that would be fun actually. Because Yoshi isn't like you're not really able to ride him, so that makes sense too. So yeah, we'll have to see.
And
Um,
I'm hoping for
yeah.
like some Super Mario 3D Land levels put in too, potentially, as like a bonus world, or maybe some original levels as another bonus world. Um
hmm
add even more
Maybe they
content.
could also add some more Captain Code levels
Oh
in there
yeah, for sure.
because the Captain Toad was really popular in the old version. In fact, so popular they made their own game, and then they had that on the Switch now
Hmm.
too.
Yeah, maybe they could like
Add
make
3D
a
World
world
to it.
entirely.
They should add a lot more.
Maybe they could make a world entirely of Captain Toad like levels, just with some of them from Treasure Tracker, right?
Yeah, they can maybe do that, but I maybe also add a few more levels to Treasure Tractor in return, so it's like fair for the people who bought Treasure Tractor
Yeah,
2 in the past, you
yeah.
know?
Well, hopefully they add like
So,
multiple new worlds of some kind. They have plenty of stuff to choose from,
mhm,
and they don't really have to build too much from the ground up if they are planning to add a ton of content. Because they have lots of content that they can
for sure.
reuse from other games and stuff.
Mhm. Well, I think that's the end of our podcast for today, unless you have something else to say,
Yeah,
Evan.
that's about it.
Yeah, guys. So, well, thank you for listening to the BBQ Podcast or watching if you're watching on YouTube or something. We will be trying to get better audio quality over time, of course. This is our first one, so please bear with us when we try to get the grasp of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you guys again later. All right, bye, guys.
Go subscribe to my YouTube channel at EEVAN10 on YouTube. That's EEVAN10 on YouTube. You can also find my Twitch channel with the same username. And don't forget to go subscribe to BoomBQ as well.
to the podcast. This won't be an actual podcast episode on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff once we get that on those platforms and on Anchor. But this is just where we talk around with you guys in the chat a bit. And we just discuss what we talked in the podcast a bit. So, for instance, I think we're talking about the Dream versus Technoblade duel today. After this, because that's where we talked about a bit during the last podcast. And so we'll do some updates on the previous podcast to see if any of that information has changed since we talked about it. So now that we know the winner, we will be talking about that. So if you don't want any spoilers for that, guys, make sure to leave the podcast now. It's fine. Watch the video on Mr. V's Gaming, Technoblade versus Dream, 1v1 duel for $100,000 USD.
Okay, sorry guys. I was a little bit late here, but how's everyone doing? Is Boom here?
Hello.
Okay, Boom's here. I just can't hear him. And
okay, well
oh, there.
That's me awkward.
Okay. Fixed it. Okay, we're all good. Couple technical difficulties there, but we're back up. So
okay, well quick question, Evan. Were they able to hear that intro I just did or no?
I believe they were able to hear the intro, just not me.
Okay, hopefully they were able to hear that intro I just said. So I'll just say it again, just in case. Better be safe than sorry for this type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this is a post commentary of the podcast. So we'll just be discussing a bit more things about the podcast usually here. We'll give you some updates maybe about the podcast too, what's going to be going on. We'll also be talking about a bit about the previous podcast, if anything has changed. So, for instance, I think this time we'll be talking about the Dream versus Technoblade duel, about who won. So make sure, if you don't want to know who won or you haven't watched the video yet, make sure to click off now because we will be spoiling it for you, okay? It's on Mr. Beast Gaming, so you can check it out, okay? Yeah, I think that's all. So I guess we should start talking. What do you want to start with, Evan?
Yeah, so we can go ahead and talk about the duel, the 1v1 between Technoblade and Dream.
Yeah, so if you didn't know already, Technoblade won, right? So it was 6 Technoblade, 4 Dream. So that means Technoblade won 6 1v1s and Dream won 4. But all of them were extremely close. Like at the end of each fight, pretty much, there was only like 2 hearts left for both of them.
Yeah,
which is pretty
Dream
crazy.
Dream did get away from one with like 7 health, I believe.
I think it was 6 hearts. Yeah.
6,
So Dream did have the highest, but yeah, it was really interesting. I also thought it was interesting about like the 1.16 PvP, right? That axe crits. I didn't realize axe crits was that much overpowered on 1.16 because I've never seen such competitive 1.6 gameplay or PvP, right? Because usually all the competitive PvP on Minecraft is done on 1.8. So yeah, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that real quick about the PvP there, or.
Well, it was pretty intense. And I wasn't expecting the ties so many times. It was like 3-3. Like Dream caught back up after Technoblade was at 3-1. Is 3-3. And then they both won one of their versions, and then 4-4, and then they both won one on their respective versions again to get 5-5. Sorry, no. Technoblade won on his version to get 5-4, and then it was really intense at that part. We were on Dream's version. Technoblade had secured a tie, and it was a really close match, but it looked like Dream was gonna win. And Technoblade just made a comeback there, and
Yeah, I thought it'd be a tie there too. So yeah, I was gonna say it's good for them there.
Yeah.
Like, another funny thing I'd like to add is that when they were both training for the duel, right? They're both training on this 1.16 PvP server, right? But since there's only like one competitive PvP server for 1.16, as I said earlier, 1.16 is not really for competitive PvP. Like no one really likes it compared to the 1.8. So there's only like one server that does it well. So they're both on there on the same time usually. So they like saw each other training. So it was like really awkward. It's kind of like that one meme with the 2 Spider-Mans pointing at each other. So I just thought I'd add that because I think that's pretty funny.
yeah, for sure.
It's like, oh no, just like the practice before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's also pretty amazing, guys. Like, because Technoblade did a indeed to a Minecraft analysis of the PvP duel on each fight, one by one. So he did it for, so he went through all the mathematics of what he had to do in his head to calculate how he could get the best combos, stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that is pretty crazy. Because like, guys, what we're learning in high school math isn't useless. It can help you be better at Minecraft PvP.
Yes,
So make
it's
sure you stay in
true.
school, kids.
You
Make
know,
sure you're staying
that
school kids for the PvP.
yes, that high school math helped Technoblade win $100,000.
$100,000. So yeah, it's stay in school there. Make sure to study actually, because all that could be what's happening. I also found it really funny. This Dream made a post commentary kind of thing as well, right? Like he just made a video of them talking about after the game, right? And
I haven't watched
so
that yet.
basically, Dream won a diamond from Mr. Beast in a different video, right? Like a $200,000 diamond. So he's like, "Okay, Technoblade, can you send me your bank details on Twitter so I can send you the $100,000?" Mr. Beast is admin, and then they're like, "By the way, Dream, I have your $200,000 diamond here. So can you send me your shipping details?" And Technoblade's just like, "Oh, so Dream just gets a $200,000 just for showing up." I'm like, "Oh, you have so much fun." But that's not actually true. But I thought this was kind of funny
Oh,
though.
that's hilarious. That is pretty great.
So yeah, I guess anything else we should add about that? Do you have any else thing we should talk about, or?
Well, not I don't have anything else really to say about it. But if you haven't seen it, and you didn't really care about the spoilers, you should definitely go watch it at Mr. Beast Gaming. It's a pretty funny video.
Also, go to Technoblades and Dream's second channel for their analyses and stuff like that on those duel, because those are also very entertaining. I think we're gonna end the post commentary here, right, Evan? Or do you have anything else to say?
Well, let's talk quickly about the Minecraft world that they can see us playing on.
Oh, that's true. It's true.
So we're gonna be playing on this Minecraft world. For most of the podcast, we might play switch it up and play some other games. But eventually, once we're happy with the world, once we feel like it's completed, we're going to open it up and give you guys the world to download for yourselves and explore. So for now, you can watch us create it, but eventually we will let you guys use it and put it on your own worlds.
Another thing, guys, right now we're currently working with Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get our podcast audio onto those platforms. So keep checking back the description of this video, and we'll edit the description once we get the podcast on the appropriate platform. So if they link to it, okay? So make sure to check that stuff out too on the platform you prefer to listen to. So Spotify for me, because are the Spotify premium boys. But if you prefer a different platform, it'll most likely be on that eventually. So just keep checking the description, and we'll keep editing it until there's a good platform for it. Anything else to add, Evan? Or
well, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button down below. Turn on post notifications. You can get notified every time we go live with another one of these podcasts, and will get notified when I release a new video. A stream highlight from my Twitch streams is something else. So definitely hit that notification bell down below and the subscribe button. Smash that like button if you want to see more podcasts. It really helps us get more out, helps us other people find the podcast, and don't forget to go give it a listen or a like on Anchor Podcasts and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts when they come out, because again, that just helps a lot and helps get it discovered. So if you guys would be kind enough to help us out, keep supporting the podcast.
Share it to your friends.
Yeah, share it to your friends. And we're going to continue to try to cover a variety of topics. So
if you have any suggestions for topics, guys, we'll make a channel on Evan 10's Discord server. You can find the link in the description. And it will be like podcast questions/suggestions. Just leave it there, guys, and we'll probably be answering in the next episode.
Yeah, and if you also want to ask questions live to us during this post-commentary time that we're recording live right now on air, you can come into the chat and you can ask those questions as long as it's during this time. So that's about it. Don't forget to subscribe to BoomBQ on YouTube too. You can check out my Twitch in the description below, and again my Discord server's link down there. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. Boom, any parting words?
Not anything, I guess. So, yeah, bye for now, everyone.
Please see you guys later.